I remember the moment my trading account fell to $12 as if it happened in slow motion. The morning had started normally. I woke up, stretched, checked my phone out of habit, expecting the usual balance I was used to seeing, something that still felt stable, something that made me feel like I had control. But that morning, the number didn't look familiar. At first, I thought it was a software glitch. Maybe the app hadn't refreshed properly. Maybe the Wi-Fi was slow. Maybe something, anything, was delaying the actual, real number. So I refreshed, then refreshed again, but the number remained, $12. Seeing it felt like being punched in the stomach, not hard, but deep. A slow, sinking feeling, like cold water rising inside your chest. I froze. My thumb hovered over the screen, but my mind drifted far away, into the emptiness that only deep disappointment creates. I sat back in my chair, letting my phone rest in my hand, and just breathe. The lights in the room felt colder. The sunlight from outside felt harsher. I realized I wasn't just staring at a number. I was staring at the consequences of my own decisions, consequences that months of warnings, hesitation, and stress had been pointing toward. But I had ignored them. I wanted to believe I could outsmart the market. I wanted to believe that my instincts were enough, even when my discipline wasn't. And now those beliefs were gone, replaced by a quiet, almost peaceful sense of finality. $12, a symbolic collapse of the trader I had been pretending to be. My first reaction wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was almost nothing, a hollow numbness, a long, quiet pause where I simply stared, breathing slowly, trying to accept what my eyes were telling me. My mind whispered excuses. Maybe the broker messed up. Maybe there was a glitch. Maybe. But the truth didn't care about my excuses. The truth was simple. Everything I had lost, I had willingly given away, trade by trade, impulse by impulse, broken rule by broken rule. I put the phone down, leaned forward, and buried my face in my hands. The silence in the room suddenly felt heavy. The kind of silence that makes your thoughts echo. And in that echo, I heard every moment I had ignored discipline. Every time I said, just this once. Every time I moved a stop loss. Every time I traded without a plan. Everything suddenly felt connected. My downfall wasn't random. It was built one emotional decision at a time. After what felt like an hour but was probably just a few minutes, I lifted my head and exhaled slowly. I whispered to myself, so this is where we start again. Something in me softened, something hardened, something broke, something healed. It was a strange mixture of defeat and determination, a quiet turning point I didn't fully understand yet, but would later realize was the most important moment of my trading life. Instead of closing the app, deleting it, or walking away, I decided to face what had happened. Because walking away wouldn't erase the problem, and starting over with more money wouldn't fix the habits that broke me. I understood in that moment that money wasn't the solution. Psychology was, discipline was, awareness was. My account wasn't small because the market punished me. It was small because I wasn't yet the type of trader who could protect it. I grabbed an old notebook from my shelf. The pages were mostly empty except for a few abandoned attempts at journaling. I flipped to a clean page and wrote the truth in large, clear handwriting. This is the account balance I deserved. It wasn't self-hate, it was honesty. Then I wrote a second line beneath it. Who I become next will decide what happens to this $12. I began listing everything that had led me to that point. Overtrading, FOMO, entering trades that looked good enough, instead of waiting for trades that were truly aligned with my strategy. Revenge trading after losses, increasing lot sizes emotionally, breaking boundaries I had set for myself. Trading while tired, trading while distracted, trading while angry, trading because I wanted excitement. As I wrote each one down, I felt like I was draining poison from a wound. Seeing it all written on paper made it real. And once something becomes real, you can finally confront it. Then, on the next page, I wrote, rules for my comeback. I wrote them slowly, intentionally, thinking about each one carefully. I wrote, I trade only when calm. I take only clean setups I fully understand. I stop trading after one emotional mistake. I never move a stop loss. I never increase risk based on emotion. I only trade during sessions I have studied. I review every trade in detail. I respect the process more than the outcome. When I finished writing these rules, I closed the notebook and just sat there. Something inside me felt lighter. Not happier, but clearer. I wasn't trying to make myself feel better. I was preparing myself to become better. For the next 3 days, I didn't take a single trade. I opened my chart each morning like a ritual and simply observed. I watched the market breathe. I watched it rise and fall, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. I studied how candles formed and how they trapped impatient traders. I noticed how liquidity zones were hit like magnets. I saw how the market manipulated those who chased. And each day, my understanding deepened. I wasn't looking for shortcuts anymore. I was building awareness. Those 3 days taught me patience. And patience changed everything. On the 4th day, I woke up feeling calm and ready. I made tea, sat at my desk, opened my notebook, and read my rules slowly. Then I opened my charts and watched. Not with urgency, not with excitement, but with clarity. I told myself I would take only one trade today, and only if it met every rule. 2 hours passed before I saw anything worth considering. A clean structure, a pullback into a predictable zone, a slowing of momentum, a wick rejecting from the order block. The setup wasn't just technically sound, it felt right. But I still waited. I waited for the candle to close. I waited for confirmation. I waited for my breathing to stay steady. Then, with a sense of calm determination, I took the trade. My lot size was microscopic. But the size didn't matter. What mattered was the discipline behind it. When the trade went into profit, I didn't exit early out of fear. When it retraced slightly, I didn't panic. I let the trade breathe. I let the market do its job. And when it finally hit my modest take profit, I closed the trade and leaned back in my chair. That profit was tiny, almost non-existent, but the victory was enormous. For the first time in a long time, I felt proud, not of the money, but of myself. I had executed with discipline. And discipline was the skill I had always lacked. Over the next several days, I repeated this new routine. Wake up, breathe, read my rules, observe, wait, execute only when everything aligned. Some days I took no trades at all. Some days I took one perfect trade and stopped. My account grew slowly. $12 became 15, then 18, then 22. Small numbers that represented something huge, consistency. In my journal, I wrote entries every day. Some short, some long, some emotional, some analytical. Today I felt tempted to jump into a fake breakout, but I held back. Today's loss was clean and controlled. It didn't shake me. I'm learning to accept losses without letting them define me. I waited 3 hours today and I'm proud of myself. These journal entries became my mental reset button. On bad days, they grounded me. On good days, they kept me humble. They reminded me that trading wasn't just about charts. It was about mastering myself. As the weeks passed, my account continued to grow, slowly, steadily, predictably. It crossed $25, then $33, then $48. Some days were frustrating. Some days felt boring. Some days felt effortless. But every day was progress. By the time my account reached $100, something unexpected happened. The growth began to accelerate. Not because I was trading more aggressively, but because I was executing with precision. My lot sizes increased slightly with proper risk management. My confidence was rooted in discipline, not ego. My patience had matured into intuition. Once I crossed a few $100s, I encountered my first major test. A losing streak, 3 losses in a row. In the past, this would have triggered revenge trading and emotional chaos. But this time, I stayed calm. I reviewed each loss carefully. All 3 were clean setups. No rule breaking, no impulsiveness, just part of the statistical nature of trading. So I accepted them, and because I accepted them, the next winning streak came naturally. My account climbed, 500, 600, 800. Each milestone felt less like luck and more like inevitability. I wasn't guessing. I wasn't hoping. I was executing. When my account finally crossed $1,000, I paused the whole day. I didn't trade. I didn't rush. I simply reflected. I thought about the $12 version of myself who had been broken, lost, emotional. I realized that the $12 balance hadn't been a punishment. It had been a reset button. The beginning of the trader I was meant to become. From 1,000 to 5,000, the journey felt different. It was slower, more serious, more intentional. I had more responsibility to protect the account. I traded fewer setups but with greater confidence. I trusted my strategy. I trusted my discipline. I trusted myself. The jump from 5,000 to 10,000 came from consistency, not luck. From waiting instead of forcing. From respecting the market instead of fighting it. And when my account finally crossed 10,000, I didn't celebrate. I didn't shout. I didn't call anyone. I simply exhaled, the same long, slow exhale I had taken the day my account showed $12. But this time, it wasn't defeat. It was peace, gratitude, evolution. When my account reached 5 figures, I understood something profound. My comeback wasn't financial. It was psychological, it was emotional, it was spiritual, it was personal. The real transformation wasn't in my balance. It was in my discipline, my patience, my clarity, my identity. I didn't turn $12 into 5 figures. I turned impulsiveness into discipline, fear into patience, chaos into structure, hope into confidence, a broken mindset into a powerful mindset. And that's what created the financial comeback. If you're listening to this right now, wondering if your small account or your mistakes or your losses mean you can't succeed, hear this clearly. Your comeback begins the moment you decide to change who you are. Not when your balance grows. Not when you win a few trades. Not when luck finally turns your way. Your comeback begins when you decide to become the trader who deserves success. When you decide to respect the market. When you respect yourself enough to follow your rules. When you choose discipline over emotion. When you choose patience over impulse. When you choose consistency over chaos. The market doesn't reward the smartest traders. It rewards the most disciplined traders. The most patient traders. The traders who show up every day ready to execute, not speculate. Your $12 moment is not the end. It is the beginning. The mirror you must face. The fire you must walk through. The test you must pass. Because once you pass it, once you rebuild yourself, once you master your psychology, the account grows naturally, effortlessly, predictably, and sustainably. This entire journey, every candle, every journal note, every moment of doubt, every moment of clarity, every breath you take before pressing the buy or sell button, all of it becomes part of your evolution. And evolution always leads upward. You are capable of the same comeback. Not because it's easy, not because it's quick, but because discipline, once mastered, becomes unstoppable. And once you become unstoppable, $12 is more than enough to start again.